The days leading up to our meeting were an emotional roller coaster. I couldn't stop replaying the past in my head, recalling the pain of Robert's sudden departure, the struggles of raising the children alone, and the long years of trying to come to terms with his betrayal. So I arrived early and nervously sipped my coffee while waiting for Robert. A short while later, he walked in, approaching me with a mix of hesitation and determination on his face. I noticed he looked older, worn out, and somehow nothing like the man I had once married. At first, our conversation was filled with awkward pauses and cautious words. We avoided the main subject, instead focusing on polite greetings and small talk about the past years. At one point, Robert gathered his courage and began explaining the reason for his sudden return to our lives. He said that Isabella turned out to be nothing like the woman he had imagined. She was also a single mother but had hidden that fact until he left us and showed up at her door. Their relationship faced many difficulties, mainly because of her gambling addiction, which caused her to squander all his money. They often fought, but Robert decided to stay with her, not wanting to abandon someone again. However, after his father's recent death, he realized life was too short to remain unhappy. Every day, he thought about how much he missed me and the kids, regretting the choice he made 8 years ago. Robert admitted that over the years he had considered coming back many times but lacked the courage to face us. Then he revealed that his father had left him their large lake house, the one we used to visit as a family before he left. He said he wanted to sell it to secure a comfortable life for himself. I listened silently, nodding, until Robert surprised me with an unexpected statement. He proposed coming back to us and giving our children a luxurious life. He assured me that I would never have to work again if I took him back. I stared at him in disbelief as he kept insisting that we could live the rest of our lives without worrying about money. In essence, Robert wanted us to reconcile and give our family a second chance, using his father's inheritance to build a better life. I considered his words carefully, realizing the possible benefits this inheritance could bring to our family. However, forgetting all the years of his absence, when I was fighting alone for the kids, was simply impossible. Although the idea of financial stability was tempting, I could not ignore the pain and anger that had built up inside me during all those long years without him. So I firmly told Robert that while I appreciated his offer, I simply could not forget the last 8 years. I told him that all this time I had raised the children alone while working, and although we didn't have everything one could dream of, we had a stable life. I said I didn't want to risk going through that pain again, for me or for my children. I wanted to protect them, and I wasn't sure if I could ever trust him enough to be certain he wouldn't leave us again. Robert kept begging me to reconsider. His eyes were full of desperation, but I knew that if I let him return, I would be putting our family's stability at risk. My heart tightened a little at the thought of rejecting him, especially knowing he could solve all our financial problems. But I couldn't ignore the emotional wounds he had left behind. Since meeting with Robert, my parents have been urging me to reconsider and accept his offer. They keep telling me that the least he can do now is to provide me and the kids with a better life, free from financial stress. They argue that people can change, and perhaps Robert has realized his mistakes and truly wants to rebuild our family. They believe I'm being selfish and should put my children's comfort above my own emotional pain. The last few days I haven't been able to sleep, torn between my choice. I can't bring myself to tell the kids about Robert's return. I'm worried about how they'll react to the news and how they'll take the idea of their father re-entering their lives after 8 years away. I keep doubting myself, torn between the potential benefits of accepting Robert's offer and the memories of our painful past. So, am I wrong for rejecting Robert's proposal and possibly depriving my kids and myself of a better life in just a few days? I've received thousands of comments and messages from people. It's comforting to know that most of you don't think I'm wrong. I took the advice and decided it was time to have an honest conversation with the kids about Robert. The last thing I wanted was for him to suddenly show up in their lives and catch them off guard. Tonight after dinner, I sat down with Emily and Nathan. I began telling them about their father's unexpected return and his proposal to rejoin our lives. Their faces reflected a mix of curiosity and confusion as they tried to understand what I was saying. When I told them that Robert had inherited the lake house and wanted to sell it to help us financially, their reactions were very different. Emily, now 17, went through a wide range of emotions from anger to shock. She was just as confused as I was and couldn't understand why Robert had decided to come back after so many years. While she remembered her father and sometimes missed him, she also remembered the pain she felt when he left us. She said that at first, she missed having a father figure in her life, but over time, she learned to live without him and didn't want him back. Nathan, now 12, said he didn't remember Robert at all, so he didn't care that I turned down his offer. He could barely understand all the implications of the situation. I told them honestly that I would respect any decision they made. Emily said she absolutely did not want to meet him, and Nathan agreed, saying he was happy with how things were. I realized that although the idea of restoring our family was tempting, the wounds of the past were too deep, and my children's well-being came first. I knew I made the right decision to walk away from Robert that day in the cafe.